Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Dylan here for Space Internet Crypto, and today we're going to look at the Bitcoin miners. It's the weekend, so thought I'd just look at the charts before market opens tomorrow, Monday, and we'll see what we have in store for this coming week with Bitcoin and with the Bitcoin miners, because since Bitcoin is still having a pullback to the downside, a correction, we could see the miners still drop, because right now they're holding some support, but we'll see what are the price targets if you're going to go short, and where would be the potential longs that you could take if you want to go long after the correction ends. But let's start off with Bitcoin right now. Hold on a second. So let's start off with Bitcoin. Let's look at this chart. We can see here, this is the weekly, and we have our EMA ribbon coming up here. We have our first one, which is like the 20-day right here. So we see that Bitcoin is actually dropping in price and going towards that first touch on the EMA ribbon. So we see it dropping down here and finding its first support here at the $200 area. So if we get a touch, or at least a wick down there touching it, that could be our confirmation that we have reached the bottom, so we can see continual move to the upside here. Because as you can see, since late October, since we started the bull run, we have not had a single touch on this EMA ribbon. We've had just been closing green candle after green candle after green candle after green candle, no red candles to see until we had this kind of this rejection right here, this price correction from our 42 all the way down to 28K mark for Bitcoin. But yet we still did not touch the moving averages here on this EMA ribbon. So that's what I see playing out for Bitcoin at the moment. It's still dumping. It went down to 46,600. That's the lowest it went so far. But if we go down here and we make a wick here at 44,000, I don't think we're gonna be staying here for too long. But once we get that wick, that confirmation touch here, we could then potentially see a huge move to the upside, starting with Bitcoin. But as you know, Bitcoin is still trying to find its bottom. If we look at the 4-hourly, we did. Let me zoom in right here. So if we zoom in, these last couple drops here, we've been forming a descending triangle, and descending triangles are bearish patterns. And we saw, apart from that, we did see a lot of resistance from this ascending resistance and this EMA ribbon. Once it flipped bearish here on the 17th of April, we just saw continual downside. We couldn't break through that EMA ribbon. We saw descending triangle here breaking down to a price target of around $47,000, and then from there we've been forming sideways this symmetrical triangle, which we just have broken to the downside, and still not reaching our price target here around 46,000. We almost got very close to it, but yet again it is still in that breakout mode. We did see a huge wick as a recovery bounce, but we are seeing if that's going to hold for Bitcoin. As of right now, it's still in that phase. We did find some volume here coming in for selling pressure, and we're still on the oversold side on the RSI. So it is still looking dicey for Bitcoin, but we are seeing less altcoin volatility as well. So we are seeing that we could eventually find that bottom for Bitcoin. As of right now, it's kind of recovering. It's almost back to its 49K part, but we just have to see towards the end of the day. Remember, the weekends are when whales can manipulate the price the most. So take this price action with a grain of salt. We will only see come Monday what the actual direction of the market is going to be, and what the market makers are going to push the direction of Bitcoin's price. But as of right now, it just dropped, broke out of symmetrical triangle, almost reached our price target, but it's still kind of hovering. We'll see in the next couple of hours what it does. But let's just jump in with our Bitcoin miners. We see here, first one is Mara. We start looking at it. Mara was breaking out of a symmetrical triangle, broke out, had a fake out, came back into this area right here, try to find support on this descending support right here. Once was resistance right here, broke through support, created this M pattern right here, and then we saw just continual downside for this price correction of Mara. So a lot of the Bitcoin miners are receiving their correction as well. Before, they were hovering in between this EMA ribbon, finding support here on the lower portions of it. But once we had a clear breakthrough through this EMA ribbon, we have continual price action down to lower levels here, which we have not seen since January, when we found some local tops here at around $27. We are seeing that this would be a very strong area of support, this whole support box right here. So we found support here, we found support bouncing off from here, and we found some resistance here and here. So this is a very strong area where we could see a potential bounce in the next coming days. We did see, I drew these ascending channels here that we've been trading in between in this area right here. And once we broke this this channel right there, we did find continue moving to the downside. We did see a bounce right here. If we zoom in on this part of the channel, we did see a bounce dropping from this channel, coming back up, trying to stay in this area of price action, but we ultimately did not have the momentum to come back up here and retest this resistance, this descending resistance at around $37, and we just continue to drop. We are currently seeing another move to the upside right here, but since Bitcoin is dropping, we probably are not going to see the price strength to reach up to this $33 area. So our next price target for Mara would be at the bottom of this channel, which would be at $27. And then yet again, finding a lot of support here at this support box, this light blue box right here that I drew out at the $26 to the $24 area. And if we are to break that within the next couple of days, we could see a price target area of around $21. And that would be ultimately a really good area to drop your long position in, or to place a long position in, because that is actually an area where Mara had its private offering. So it placed its offering at around $20 per share back here in around January when they had their public offering, or the private offering. So it was around $20. So that would be a very high area for support. And if we look at the VPR here too, at around like $21, $22 is where that support is as well. Apart from here, we have the high volume node happening. But just like I said here, once it broke this $38, $39 mark, we had a lot of low volume in this area. So the price could easily drop through this low volume nodes. So that's what it's looking like for Mara. Price target of around $26 to $24 until we continue to see a move to the upside around $34. But as of right now, it's looking like it's trying to hold up in this channel. So we could see just potential price movement in this channel area right here. Let's move on to RIOT. RIOT is now forming this sort of descending wedge, or this descending channel pattern right here. It actually on Friday broke through its golden pocket support area zone, which we've seen support here many times for RIOT. So that is not a good sign. It's looking more bearish at this point, because we found support here, even had a wick down here. And once we broke through this support box, tried to break through above it, but ultimately traded in between this golden pocket region until we ultimately found a wick to the downside. And now we're currently testing to break it back in. But like I said, Bitcoin's price action is not looking too good. If we end up getting rejected again, we can find our price target here at the $30 mark for RIOT. And that would make sense too, because also we have a bearish flip here on the EMA ribbon. So we can see the EMA ribbon drop down here, seeing a lot of resistance in this area for $38, $39 on RIOT. And it makes sense too, because RIOT would have a further price to correct to instead of Mara, because it had such a gigantic parabolic move to the upside when we saw this initial move right here, starting here at around $24 all the way to its move to $80. So almost a 4x within the last week of this price action here, when Bitcoin was on all-time highs in February, in the middle of February. So we could see a continual move to the downside here at the $31 mark, holding on to resistance, or holding on to this descending support here on RIOT. And from there, we can see a continual drop downward to the $24 mark. And if we pull up our VPR, also, we do see that we had a high volume node right here, right at this golden pocket area, right at this this nice support box region. And since we did not reclaim that as support, we will see it as very hard resistance, and we see low volume in this area right here from 38 to 26, 25 till our next high volume area here at around the $23 to $24 region. So RIOT has potentially more room to go to the downside than Mara at this moment. So that is something to look out for if you're in RIOT. Eventually maybe open up a short position here if we get that rejection above here at the bottom of this golden pocket at $38. We see our next price target at the bottom of this descending support at 31. And if we break that down here to $25, $25. So that is how it's looking for Riot. Riot and Mara are both in a deep correction right now. So once we find that bottom, we could find potential longs in the area. But let's look at SOS, because SOS already has been doing this intense consolidation pattern, unlike Mara and Riot, which had just been continually going up on a steady incline. But we see actually SOS is finding support above its descending wedge pattern that's been happening since the middle of February. So if we look here, we can see, let's zoom in a little bit and see what's going on here. I'm gonna turn the VPR off. So we are forming this ascending wedge, and if we zoom in at the very end of this, we are using it as support finally, which is really good to see, because we've seen SOS for the last couple months just staying between that $6 to $4 range, just trading sideways for a long time. And we did see a dump here down to low 30s, so $3.52 here on the 20th of April. But we managed to reclaim that spot, ultimately retest this top resistance area right here at around $4.30. We did manage to touch the bottom of this EMA ribbon and then come back down and then use this resistance as support. So now we're just trading upwards. Our next price target for SOS would be at this $5.17 mark. But at the same time, we do have this EMA ribbon curving towards that area. So $5.16 is the area to look out for. If we do not make it past this level and use it as support to move on to the upside, we are going to be trading sideways in this channel here between $5.16 to $4. So we can see that eventual move. We do have a little bit of buying volume, but yet again, we still have very low volume, and our RSI is still near that oversold region, so we have plenty of room to go to the upside. It is looking good for SOS as long as we make this EMA ribbon flip bullish, like it flipped bearish right here. We want to flip bullish, have our yellow at the top, and ride it all the way to the top here. Our next price target would be at the $6 mark, because we do see, if we pull up our VPR, where our high volume nodes can be and where high resistance is. So we do see high resistance here at that $5 mark, like I mentioned before, and their next high resistance would be at the $6 mark, where most of the volume was traded. A lot of people were buying at these prices because they thought that was the bottom. But yet again, we did go lower to this $3.50 mark, which was my price target. Once we were coming down to this area, was $3.30. So it came very close to my price target, and ultimately we had that bounce on this descending support to ultimately break out of this wedge. So the breakout is somewhat confirmed. We just have to see what Bitcoin's price action is tomorrow to see where SOS can go. But SOS is looking more bullish than Mara and Riot right now. It already had its consolidation phase, but now it is looking like it's moving on up. So that is very good to see for SOS. I know a lot of people have been holding SOS, wondering when it's going to go up. So this is looking like a good sign for it to actually complete its correction to move towards the upside. Next price target would be that $6 mark after breaking $5.50, then to our next $7 mark, and then to our next Fibonacci retracement level at the 0.382, which would be $8.71. So I'm going to be updating these prices every day throughout this week to see where SOS could all go. So if you're interested in that information, like and subscribe to the video. It really helps out my channel a lot. And that is it for these updates. Remember, Mara and Riot are more in correction mode than SOS, so that is a good thing for SOS. We just have to see Bitcoin's pricing. Right now, it's still recovering. When I first started the video, it was at around $46,000. Now it's around $48,600. So it is moving fairly quickly to the upside. But that is to probably retest this area around 49,000 to then properly confirm this break to the downside. But we'll see what happens. It could still stay in this pattern, but we just have to check. Right now it's dumping again. So it is all on Bitcoin's price, but Mara and Riot are areas to look out for potential shorts because they're still in correction mode. They're still trying to find their bottom. SOS is looking like a good long opportunity though, in my opinion. Not yet again, not financial advice, but that is it for this video. If you appreciate the content, remember hit the like and subscribe button, and that is it. Peace out.